My fiancé said, "I'm inviting 200 people to the wedding. Your limit of 150 is ridiculous." I said, "You're right. Let's make everyone happy." Then I called the venue and upgraded to a 300-person capacity under only my name. When she tried to add her extra guests and found out I'd removed her vendor access. Original post. 32 male. Just locked my fiancé out of our entire wedding planning system, and she has no idea yet. In about 3 hours, she's going to try to add 50 extra guests to our caterer's list and discover that her access has been revoked. I'm writing this now because I need to process what I'm about to do and why. Let me back up. I've been with my fiancé for 4 years, engaged for 11 months. The wedding is scheduled for September, about 4 months away. We've been planning it together, or so I thought. Budget was set at $45,000. My parents contributed $15,000. Her parents contributed $10,000. I'm covering the remaining $20,000 myself, which I've been saving for the past 2 years. From the beginning, we agreed on a 150-person wedding. This wasn't arbitrary. It was based on the venue capacity, 160 max, our budget, $300 per person for food/drinks, and our actual social circles. We made a spreadsheet together, split at 75/75. Both signed off on it. 3 weeks ago, that agreement apparently became void. My fiancée came home from brunch with her mother and sister looking excited. Too excited. So I've been thinking, 150 people is too small. I want to invite 200. Me? 200? That's 50 more people. Where is this coming from? My mom pointed out that we're leaving out a lot of important people. Her bridge club friends, my dad's golf buddies, cousins I haven't seen since I was a kid, but who would be hurt if they weren't invited. It adds up. Me. We agreed on 150. We made a spreadsheet. You signed off on the final list. That was before I realized how many people we were excluding. This is the biggest day of my life. I don't want to look back and regret not having everyone there. Me. The venue holds 160 max. We literally cannot fit 200 people. Then we upgrade the venue. Me. Our deposit is non-refundable. We'd lose $5,000. So we lose $5,000. My parents can cover it. Me. Did you ask them? Not yet, but they will. They always support me. This was the first red flag I should have taken more seriously. The casual assumption that her parents would just throw more money at whatever she wanted. We argued about it for 3 days. I showed her the math. A larger venue, more catering, more chairs, more table settings, more everything. We were looking at an additional $15,000 to $20,000 minimum. Money we didn't have. Her response, "Your limit of 150 is ridiculous. This is my wedding too, and I deserve to have the celebration I want." Her wedding too. Interesting choice of words. I tried compromise. What if we cut costs elsewhere? Cheaper flowers, simpler centerpieces, less expensive photographer. She rejected all of it. I'm not having a budget wedding just because you can't do basic math. Can't do basic math. Me. The guy who'd been building spreadsheets for this wedding for 11 months. After a week of this, I made a decision. I called the venue, explained that we were considering upgrading to a larger space. They had a ballroom that could hold 300 people, significantly bigger than we needed, but available for our date. The upgrade would cost an additional $8,000 for the space, plus proportional increases to everything else. Here's the key part. I put the entire upgrade under my name only. Moved the existing contract from both our names to just mine. Paid the additional deposit from my personal account. The venue coordinator didn't question it. They just wanted the money. Then I called the caterer. Same thing. Transferred the contract to my name only. Removed her as an authorized contact. They sent confirmation to my email. Then the florist. Same thing. Then the DJ. Same thing. Then the photographer. Same thing. Within 48 hours, every single vendor for our wedding was contracted exclusively with me. My name, my credit card, my authorization required for any changes. I told my fiancée, "You're right. Let's make everyone happy." I upgraded the venue to a 300-person capacity. Problem solved. She was thrilled. Hugged me. Said she knew I'd come around. Started immediately texting her mom about all the extra people they could now invite. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, she's been on a planning spree. Her mother has been adding names to their guest list, people I've never heard of, people she's never mentioned, people whose only connection to our wedding is that they'd feel left out if they weren't invited. The list grew from 200 to 220 to 245. I watched it happen, said nothing. Today, she mentioned she was going to call the caterer to update the head count. I'm adding another 30 people for the final count. My mom's sorority sisters are all coming now. Me, sound good. Let me know how it goes. She left for work an hour ago. In about 2 hours, she'll make that call. And she'll discover that she can't make any changes because she's no longer an authorized contact. The caterer will tell her that all modifications need to go through me. Then she'll call the venue. Same thing. Then the florist. Same thing. Every single vendor will tell her the same thing. I'm the only person who can make changes to this wedding. I don't know exactly what's going to happen after that, but I know that the conversation we're about to have is going to determine whether this wedding happens at all. I'll update when the fallout begins. Update 1, same day, 6 hours later. It happened, and it was somehow worse and better than I expected. Around 2 p.m., my phone started buzzing. First a text. Did you change something with the caterer? They're saying I'm not authorized to make changes. Me, we should talk about that when I get home. Talk about what? What did you do? Me, I'll be home at 5. Answer me. I didn't respond. Let her sit with it. When I got home, she was waiting. She'd clearly been crying, but the tears had been replaced with fury. Explain. Now, me, I transferred all the vendor contracts to my name only. Why? Me, because you decided unilaterally to change our agreed-upon wedding plans. You added 50 people without discussing it with me. Then 50 more. Then 30 more. You treated our budget like a suggestion and our agreement like something you could override whenever your mom had a new idea. That doesn't give you the right to lock me out of my own wedding. Me, it's not your wedding. It's our wedding. Or at least it was supposed to be. You made it very clear that what I want doesn't matter. So I'm making it clear that what happens with the vendors I'm paying for goes through me. Your parents contributed too. Me, my parents contributed $15,000 to a $45,000 wedding. I'm covering $20,000 personally. You know what your contribution has been? $0. That landed. She looked like I'd slapped her. I'm contributing by planning everything. Me, planning means making decisions together. Not dictating what happens because your mom thinks her bridge club should be invited to watch us exchange vows. You're being controlling. Me, I'm protecting my investment. There's a difference. She tried a different approach then. Started crying again. Said I was sabotaging her dream wedding. Said I clearly didn't love her if I was willing to do this to her. Said she'd never be able to trust me again. Me, you want to talk about trust? You agreed to 150 guests. Then you changed it to 200 without asking me. Then to 245. You were planning to add more today. At what point were you going to consult me? Or was I just supposed to keep paying for whatever you and your mom decided? It's one day. Why can't you just let me have this? Me, because this is costing $60,000 now. $60,000 for one day. And you're asking me to foot most of the bill for a guest list full of people I've never met. My parents will cover. Me, your parents haven't offered a single additional dollar. I called your dad this morning. He said they gave their contribution and that's all they can afford. So either you were lying about them covering extra costs, or you just assumed they would and never actually asked. More silence. More fury. You called my dad? Behind my back. Me, you changed our entire wedding plan behind my back. I confirmed some facts. We're even. She stormed out. Went to her mom's place. I've been sitting here for 2 hours processing. Her mom called me once. I didn't answer. Her sister texted calling me controlling and manipulative. I didn't respond. Here's where things stand. I have sole control over all wedding vendors. The contracts are in my name. The deposits, about $18,000 total now, are on my credit card. If this wedding doesn't happen, I'm out that money. But if it does happen, it happens on the terms I agreed to, not the one she invented without me. Tomorrow I'm going to send her a proposal. We go back to the original 150-person plan, or we cancel everything. Her choice. More updates coming. Update 2, 4 days later. The past few days have been chaos, and I need to document what's happened because this situation has escalated well beyond the guest list. The morning after our confrontation, I sent her the proposal I mentioned. We returned to the original 150-person plan that we both agreed to, or we cancel the wedding. Simple. Binary. Her choice. Her response, via text. Her, you don't get to give me ultimatums about my wedding. Me, our wedding. And yes, I do, when I'm the one legally contracted with every vendor. Her, this is abuse. You're financially abusing me. Me, I'm setting a boundary about how my money gets spent. That's not abuse. That's basic financial autonomy. She didn't respond after that, but she did activate her support network. Over the next 2 days, I received a call from her mother telling me I was destroying her daughter's dreams and that I needed to be a man and give her what she wants. A text from her sister saying I was the most controlling person she'd ever seen and her sister deserved better. A voicemail from her aunt, who I've met twice, telling me that family comes first and I was tearing the family apart. An email from her best friend, a 3-paragraph essay about how wedding planning is stressful for brides and I should support her vision. Notice what none of these messages included. Any acknowledgement that she'd changed our agreed-upon plans without consulting me. Any recognition that I was being asked to pay for things I never agreed to. Any suggestion that maybe, just maybe, she had some responsibility here. It was all about what she wanted, what she deserved, what I was failing to provide. Thursday evening, she finally came back to the apartment. She'd been staying at her mom's. Her, I've thought about it. I'm willing to compromise. Me, I'm listening. Her, we keep the 300-person venue, but I'll cut the guest list to 200. That's 50 fewer than I wanted. That's a compromise. Me, 200 is still 50 more than we agreed to originally. How is that a compromise? Her, because I wanted 250 and I'm giving up 50 people. Me, that's not how compromise works. You don't get to inflate your demands and then call it a compromise when you reduce them slightly. We agreed to 150. Anything above that requires discussion. Her, fine. 175, final offer. Me, no. Her, no. You're saying no to 175. Me, I'm saying the original agreement was 150. I'm willing to discuss adding a small number, maybe 10 or 15, if there are genuinely important people we missed. But I need to be part of that conversation. I need to know who these people are and why they matter. I'm not signing off on a number without knowing what I'm agreeing to. She stared at me for a long moment. Her, you don't trust me. Me, you gave me reasons not to. You changed our plans without asking. You assumed I'd just go along with it. You assumed your parents would pay for things without confirming. You called my very reasonable boundary ridiculous. Trust is earned, and lately, you haven't been earning it. She started crying again, but this time something was different. There was less performance in it. She actually looked hurt. Her, I didn't mean for it to get like this. My mom was just so excited, and she kept suggesting people, and I didn't know how to say no to her. Me, so you said no to me instead, because I was the easier target. She didn't deny it. We talked for another hour, not arguing, actually talking. She admitted that her mom had been driving a lot of the guest list inflation, that she felt pressure to give her mom the big family wedding her mom never had, that she told herself I would understand because I always understood. Me, I understand a lot, but I can't understand being treated like an ATM with no input on how the money gets spent. Her, that's not how I see you. Me, it's how you've been treating me. She didn't have a response to that. We're at an impasse. She wants to think about things. I told her to take whatever time she needs, but the vendor contracts stay in my name until we have a resolution. Her mom called me again yesterday. This time I answered. Her mom, I understand you're having some disagreements about the wedding. Me, that's one way to put it. Her mom, I just want my daughter to be happy. Is that so wrong? Me, no. But her happiness shouldn't come at the cost of ignoring my input entirely. I'm not a prop in this wedding. I'm supposed to be a partner. Her mom, you're being very rigid about this. Me, I'm being consistent. There's a difference. Her mom, I hope you know what you're risking. Me, I know exactly what I'm risking. The question is whether it's worth saving. She hung up without saying goodbye. One more update coming when this reaches some kind of resolution. Update 3, final, 9 days later. Final update. We've reached a resolution, though not the one I expected. The week after my last post was tense. My fiancée moved back into the apartment, but we were living like roommates, cordial but distant. She was still thinking. I was giving her space. Then, last Tuesday, something happened that changed everything. Her dad called me. Not her mom, her dad. The quiet one who I'd spoken to about finances. He asked if we could meet for coffee. We sat down at a diner near his office. He looked tired. Her dad. I want to apologize for my wife's behavior. She's been a lot during this whole wedding process. Me, I've noticed. Her dad. She never got the wedding she wanted. When we got married, we were broke. Courthouse ceremony. No dress. No party. She's been living vicariously through my daughter since the engagement, and I should have put a stop to it earlier. Me, why didn't you? Her dad. Because it made both of them happy. And when they're happy, my life is easier. I took the path of least resistance. That was wrong. Me, I appreciate you saying that. Her dad. There's more. I've talked to my daughter. Really talked to her without her mother in the room. She knows she messed up. She knows she got swept up in what her mom wanted instead of what you both agreed to. She's embarrassed and scared that she's ruined things. Me, she hasn't said any of that to me. Her dad, she's afraid to. She thinks you've already decided to leave. I sat with that for a moment. Her dad, I'm not asking you to forgive her instantly. I'm asking you to have one more conversation. A real one, without either mother involved. Just the two of you deciding what you want. I agreed. Partly because he was right, partly because I did still love her despite everything. Wednesday night, we had that conversation. No phones, no distractions, just us at the kitchen table. Me, I need to understand what happened. Not the excuses, the real reason. Her, my mom has a way of making me feel like I'm disappointing her if I don't go along with her ideas. I've been doing it my whole life. When she started adding people to the guest list, I told myself it wasn't a big deal, that you'd be fine with it, that I could manage both of you. I was wrong. Me, you chose to manage me instead of setting boundaries with her. Her, yes, and that was selfish and unfair. You've been funding most of this wedding while I let my mom run wild with the guest list. I turned you into a checkbook instead of a partner. That was more self-awareness than I expected. Her, I want to fix this. I want us to have the wedding we planned. Not the wedding my mom dreamed about. Me, what does that look like to you? Her, 150 guests. Original venue. Original budget. I'll tell my mom which of her extra people aren't coming, and I'll deal with the fallout. Me, can you actually do that? Stand up to her. Her, I have to learn some time. This seems like a good opportunity. We talked for another 2 hours. About boundaries. About communication. About what partnership actually means. It wasn't a magic fix. I'm not naive enough to think one conversation erases months of problematic behavior. But it was a start. Thursday, she called her mom. I was there, heard the whole thing. She told her mom that the guest list was going back to 150. That the extra people, the bridge club friends, the distant cousins, the sorority sisters, weren't coming. That this was her wedding, not her mother's do-over. Her mom did not take it well. There was yelling. There was guilt tripping. There were accusations that I had brainwashed her daughter. My fiancé held firm, told her mom she loved her, but needed her to respect boundaries. The call ended with her mom hanging up in tears. Her dad texted me afterward. She did it. I'm proud of her. Thank you for giving her the chance. Here's where we are now. The wedding is back to 150 guests. I've restored her access to the vendor accounts, with the agreement that any changes above $500 require both of us to approve. We're doing weekly check-ins to make sure we're aligned on planning decisions. Her mom is still upset, hasn't spoken to either of us in a week. Her sister thinks I'm controlling, and probably always will. Her aunt sent another voicemail about family loyalty. I'm choosing not to engage. Some final thoughts. 1. Boundaries work. When I took control of the vendor contracts, I wasn't being petty. I was establishing that my voice mattered, that I wasn't going to be steamrolled by someone else's vision of what our wedding should be. The chaos that followed wasn't because I set a boundary. It was because she wasn't used to me having one. 2. Partners can grow. I don't know if my fiancée will always stand up to her mom. I don't know if one conversation fixed years of conflict avoidance. But I know she tried. And I know that trying in a moment when it mattered counts for something. 3. Fathers matter. Her dad saw what was happening and intervened in the most helpful way possible, not by taking sides, but by creating space for a real conversation. If he hadn't called me, I don't know that we'd be here. 4. Financial clarity is essential. I'm not proud that I had to basically seize control of the wedding to be heard, but I'm also not sorry. The lesson here is that whoever pays has a say. If she'd been contributing equally, she'd have had equal leverage. She wasn't, and she didn't. That's not control, that's math. 5. Some relationships are worth fighting for. I could have walked away. The vendor access move could have been the opening shot in a messy breakup instead of a forcing function for an honest conversation. I'm glad it didn't go that way, but I'm also glad I was prepared for it too. The wedding is in 3 months. 150 guests. Original venue. Original budget. Her mom may or may not attend. That's up to her to decide when she's ready to respect boundaries. I'm going to marry someone who showed me, when it counted, that she could choose us over comfortable patterns. That's more than a lot of relationships can say. Thanks for following this saga. Writing it out helped me process the chaos in real time. Sometimes you need strangers on the internet to confirm that protecting your financial stake in your own wedding isn't controlling. It's common sense. Going to go finalize some seating charts with my actual partner. Peace.